Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, thank you for holding today's hearing on these important proposals. Today we'll discuss several bills that will reduce the regulatory burdens that restrict the flow of private capital to small businesses. In Virginia's 5th District, thousands of jobs would not exist but for the investment of private equity. These critical investments allow our small businesses to innovate, expand their operations, and create jobs. One PE-backed company in my district, Virginia Candle, told me that, quote, without private investment, we would not have been able to take our business out of a garage in Lynchburg and into millions of homes all across the world. The same can be said for many small businesses in the districts of representatives here in this room and all throughout Congress. Unfortunately, Dodd-Frank placed a costly and unnecessary regulatory burden on private equity by exempting advisors to similar investment funds. These unnecessary registration requirements, which do not increase the stability of our financial system, impose an undue burden on small and mid-sized private equity firms and therefore decrease capital available to spur job growth. That is why I have introduced H.R. 1105, the Small Business Capital Access and Job Preservation Act. This bill is co-sponsored, as the ranking member said, by Representatives Himes and Cooper. If enacted, these undue burdens on private equity advisors will be eliminated, and they'll be given the same exemption that SEC's registration requirements under Title IV of Dodd-Frank that venture capital advisors receive. Additionally, the bill will specifically limit the exemption to advisors to private equity funds that have leverage of less than 2 to 1. It's important to note that private equity funds did not cause the financial crisis. They do not appear to be a source of systemic risk, as some have suggested. These funds are not highly interconnected with other financial market participants. Therefore, the failure of a private equity fund would be highly unlikely to trigger cascading losses that would lead to a similar financial crisis. By eliminating unnecessary regulations, this bill seeks to expand capital formation so that companies can innovate, expand, and create jobs. In that same vein, I have introduced the Audit Integrity and Job Protection Act, H.R. 1564, with Representative Meeks. This bill will eliminate the threat of mandatory audit firm rotation by prohibiting the Public Company Accounting and Oversight Board, the PCAOB, from moving ahead with its potential rulemaking. In 2011, the PCAOB released a concept draft to impose mandatory audit firm rotation, a directive requiring public companies to change their independent auditor every few years. As a result, this proposal would significantly impair the quality of public audits, reduce the supervision and oversight of audit committees, impose significant unnecessary costs that impede investment and harm investors and consumers. A GAO study conducted pursuant to Sarbanes-Oxley found that initial year audit costs under mandatory audit firm rotation would increase by more than 20% over subsequent year costs in order for the auditor to acquire the necessary knowledge of the public company. Beyond harming the competitive position of American public companies, I've heard from innovative private companies in Virginia's 5th District, including many of our research and development biotech firms, that mandatory audit firm rotation would create a further disincentive to go public in light of the increased costs and already complex regulatory scheme. Both the SEC and Congress have previously rejected mandatory audit firm rotation, and most recently the Jobs Act explicitly banned audit firm rotation for emerging growth companies. Let me close by saying that unemployment in my district, Virginia's 5th District, continues to be unacceptably high. We cannot continue to impose onerous and unnecessary regulatory requirements that force firms to divert essential capital from preserving and creating jobs to needless rules and regulations. I look forward to the testimony of each of our distinguished witnesses today and thank them for their appearance before the subcommittee. Mr. Chairman, thank you, and I yield back the balance of my time.